y is equal to x beta plus epsilon, where x is a matrix of order n cross p. Beta is a vector of parameters, p parameters. Epsilon n is nothing but it is a random vector. So this has, we say, equation number 2.1. Now we will use this equation. There was no assumption on epsilon. It is only simply giving that epsilon has the mean 0 and variance sigma square in. Now we will add one more assumption on epsilon. We add the assumption. We know that the model is, we have y is equal to x beta plus epsilon. So now we will make the assumption. Earlier we have simply assumed that expectation of epsilon is 0 and variance of epsilon is sigma square. Now we say that, let us say epsilon is distributed as the n variate normal with mean 0 and variance sigma square in. So what the assumption we have added? That epsilon have the normal distribution. So that is, we say that epsilon I is normally independently distributed with mean 0 and variance sigma square, where I running from 1 to n. Okay, because the sigma square I and it is saying that the covariance between epsilon are 0, so we say that epsilons are independent, and of course each and every is normally distributed. Okay. So of course, what is the distribution of y? If epsilon has the normal distribution, then what is the expected value of y? The expected value of y is expected value of x beta plus epsilon, but x beta is a constant, so expected of constant is constant, and this is the expected value of epsilon. But we know that expected value of epsilon is 0, so it is a x beta. What about the variance of y? Variance of y is equal to variance of x beta plus epsilon. So variance x beta is a constant, the variance of x beta is 0, and it is as good as that you will get it is the variance of epsilon, and that is nothing but sigma square in. So we have given that epsilon has the multivariate normal distribution. So of course y is a linear function of epsilon. So due to the normality property, we also say that y is also a multivariate normal. So what is the order of y? It is n cross 1. So we say that it is a n variate normal with mean x beta and variance is sigma square in. So now what about the beta cap? We know that beta cap equal to x dash x inverse x dash y. So of course beta cap is also a linear function of y, and y has the normal distribution. So beta cap is also a normally distributed. Suppose here x dash x is invertible. So when it is invertible, we say that rank of x dash x is equal to p. So that means it is a p variate normal. What is the mean of beta cap? It is a beta. And what is the variance? So we have already obtained it is a sigma square x dash x inverse. So this we know. From where? Once we assume that epsilon has the normal, of course the y is a linear function of epsilon, so it is also a normal, and because y has the order n cross 1, so it is also a n variate normal distribution, but beta cap has the order p cross 1, and the rank of x dash x is p, so it is a full rank. So beta cap has a normal with mean p, or you can say the rank of x dash x with mean beta and variance sigma square x dash x inverse. So earlier one we have obtained, this beta cap we have obtained by the method of least square. We have used the OLS method to obtain the estimate of this. Now we will apply the another approach, that is the maximum likelihood estimator. And we know that to obtain the OLS estimators, we do not require any distributional assumption. But when you talk about the maximum likelihood estimation, so of course you have to first write the likelihood. And to write a likelihood, you require the distribution of a variable. So here we assume that epsilon has the normal. So by using this, we can talk about the others. So epsilon has the normal, so of course y has the normal. So now we obtain the point estimate of beta and sigma square using maximum likelihood method, estimation method. Okay. So of course for that you require the distribution of y. So we know that since y is distributed as multivariate normal with mean x beta and variance sigma square in. Okay. So the likelihood function is okay, because n variates are there, so you can directly write the likelihood function is, what is that? Because here variance covariance is a, in P we usually write their density function. So we know that density function is a anyone? No, it is a 1 upon 2 pi raised to n by 2 into sigma raised to half. ऐसा था ना? Determinant of sigma raised to half e raised to minus half. Okay, what was that? It was a y minus their mean, that is x beta transpose sigma inverse y minus x beta. So that was that. Okay, but we know that what is the sigma in our setup? Sigma is a sigma square in. So of course when you take the determinant outside, what is the order of? It is n cross n, so it is a sigma square raised to n is outside, and determinant of identity, so that is giving the 1. It is sigma raised to n. Is it? Okay, and what is the sigma inverse? Sigma inverse is nothing but sigma square in inverse. Okay, so identity inverse is also identity inverse is also this, so it is a 1 upon sigma square identity. So just substitute in this, what will you get? Therefore L equal to 1 upon 2 pi. Okay, what is the determinant of sigma? It is a sigma square raised to n. Power is half is over there, so you can write it sigma square raised to n by 2 e raised to minus half, and sigma square that you can inverse. Sigma inverse you have write it as 1 upon sigma square, so sigma square I am taking outside, and if y minus x beta transpose multiply with identity, it is remains same, so it is saying that y minus x beta transpose y minus x beta. Okay, so this is your equation. Equation number क्या आ रहा है? What is that equation numbers? Anyone? It is 2.10. So equation 2.10. So this is your likelihood function. Now you have to take the derivative of this with respect to parameters. But before that, we will write the log likelihood. So what is the log likelihood? Log likelihood is that you have to take logarithm in both the side. It is small l is equal to log l. It is a minus n by 2 log 2 pi minus n by 2 log sigma square. And because there is a exponent, तो log लेंगे तो क्या मिलेगा? It is directly minus 1 upon 2 sigma square y minus x beta transpose y minus x beta. Now we simplify this. What we get? Okay, we will simplify later on. So to obtain the ML estimate, what we do? We have to take the derivative of L with respect to the parameters L beta. Okay, and अमन नेक्स्ट टाइम से आपको टाइम पे आना है, अदरवाइज आई विल नॉट एड इट. ओके, so when you find out the differentiate with respect to the parameters beta, okay, तो यहाँ पे लिख सकते हैं differentiate with respect to beta and sigma square and equate them to 0. So what is the derivative of L with respect to beta? So there is no beta, so this part is 0. Here there is no beta, so this part is also 0. And here there is a, so first we will write it is a 1 upon 2 sigma square outside. It is a del L by del beta. Now I am using the different notation. I am saying, let us say it is a beta curl. Why? Because it is ML estimator of beta. Because beta cap we have used as a least square estimator. So this is, I can write y minus x transpose x beta is nothing but y dash minus y dash y minus, what I can write, 2 times beta curl transpose x transpose y plus beta curl transpose x beta curl. So if I am taking the derivative with respect to this is minus 1 upon 2 sigma square. This is y dash y is 0. This is, I can write as a minus 2 times x transpose y, and this is plus, I can write 2 times x transpose x beta curl. And then I am equated them to the 0, which implies I can get this minus 1 upon 2 sigma square goes to this side because sigma square is not 0. So I can say that it is a minus 2 x transpose y is equal to, sorry, plus 2 times x transpose x beta curl equal to 0. So if you solve this 2 will cancel out and this minus goes to this side, it becomes the plus. So you will get x dash y is equal to x dash x beta. So this is your normal equation which you have obtained, and if rank of x dash x is equal to p, then therefore beta curl is nothing but x transpose x inverse x transpose y. So you will see that the OLS estimate and the ML estimates are unique. Now I will take derivative of this with respect to sigma square. Of course, this part is 0. This is a minus n by 2 log sigma square. So what is the derivative of log x with respect to x? It is 1 by x. So it is a minus n by 2 sigma square. And because this part is a constant, okay, so what is the derivative of 1 upon x? So it is a minus 1 by x square. So here it is a 2 times sigma raised to 4. So just take the derivative with respect to L with respect to sigma square. We will get minus n by 2 sigma square, that is minus n by 2 sigma square. Then this is the minus minus plus. When you take the 1 upon sigma square का sigma square चलेंगे तो minus 1 by sigma square square, that is sigma raised to 4, and this will minus minus become plus, which is 1 upon 2 sigma raised to 4 into, और यहाँ पे भी हम इसको सिग्मा कल दे दो बिकॉज वहाँ पे यूज कर रहा है. So this is y minus x beta equal transpose y minus x beta equal, and then equated them to 0. We will get this minus goes to this side, sigma square is cancel out, so it is a n is equal to, okay, this sigma square you can write also, no problem, 1 upon sigma whole square y minus x beta equal transpose y minus x beta. So which implies sigma cap square is nothing but y minus x beta equal transpose y minus x beta divided by n. So this is a ML estimator of a sigma square. Therefore, we observe that ML estimate and OLS estimate of beta are unique. बराबर. तो ये कब हो रहा है? Provided epsilon follows normal distribution. So whenever you are given the distribution of errors is normal between 0 and variance sigma square, the ML estimate of beta and OLS estimate of beta are unique. What about this estimate of sigma square, ML estimate of sigma square? So ML estimate of sigma square and MLS and OLS estimate of sigma square are not unique, but that we will show you when I will obtain the OLS estimate of a sigma square. Okay. You can also write this equation, this part, sigma square y dash x. So if you can simplify, you will get is nothing but 1 upon n y minus x beta equal transpose y minus x beta equal. यहाँ पे आप कैप भी लगा सकते हैं because it is unique, you said already said it is a 1 upon n. Just simplify it. You can write it as a y dash y minus what will you write? 2 times beta transpose X transpose Y plus beta transpose X transpose X beta. Okay, but we know that it also satisfies the normal equation x dash y is equal to x dash x beta. Well, so whenever you get x dash x beta curl, you can substitute x dash y. So I'm substituting here x dash y. So I can get 1 upon n. This is y dash y minus 2 times beta curl transpose x transpose y. Here you can also write beta cap. There is no issue because they are unique. And what about that? This is the beta transpose x beta cap equal to, you can write x transpose y. So this is 2 times, this is 1 time. So you can write it as a 1 upon n y dash y minus curl transpose x transpose y. Now what is the beta cap transpose? So you have already obtained beta curl, that is nothing but y dash y minus beta cap. You have already said that x transpose x inverse x transpose y. I'll just substituting that x transpose y because their transpose is x transpose y. Okay, I'll write this x transpose x inverse x transpose y and their entire inverse x transpose y. Okay, so if you solve this, what will you get? It is a 1 upon n x transpose y minus, this is a transpose, not the inverse, this is a transpose. So transpose become, when you leave the transpose, what is y come first? So it is y transpose. This is a, sorry, this is y transpose y. Okay, y transpose, this is x transpose, transpose is x, and because this is symmetric, so it is as good as, and then it is x dash y. Now you just take the y transpose outside, then what is that? It is a identity minus x, x transpose x inverse x, then you take y also outside but in a behind side. This is, you have to take the y dash outside, but because y dash is here, so it comes first, and this is y dash y, so it comes last. So this is y dash and this is y dash outside, y this. So I call this in minus this as a m. So I can say that curl transpose sigma curl square is equal to 1 upon n. This is a y transpose m y, where m is equal to in minus x, x transpose x inverse x transpose. So when you come to the ahead, we call them as a hat matrix. This is also known as a hat matrix. Okay, so we will see that what is m dash. So m dash, it is in minus x, x transpose x inverse x transpose their transpose. So it is identity transpose is identity, and this x transpose is this side, so it is a x dash x is symmetric, and this x transpose is x transpose. Okay, so you can say that m dash m equal to m. So therefore m is symmetric matrix. Now what about m dash m? M square m. So m square is nothing but m into m. So what is m? It is identity minus x, x transpose x inverse x transpose, and again m in minus x, x transpose x inverse x transpose. So you multiply this, what will you get? This in multiply with in, it is giving the in. This in multiply with this, so the quantity remains same. It is x, x transpose x inverse x transpose. This multiply with this, so it is also remain the same. So I can say it is a twice of, and this multiply with this, so it becomes the plus x transpose x inverse x transpose into x, x transpose x inverse x transpose. So you can see that this become the identity. So what is remain? It is x, x transpose x inverse x transpose. So it is a twice of this. So it is a minus twice plus 1. It will give the only single, and this is nothing but m. So we can say that m square equal to m. So it suggests that m is symmetric and idempotent. M is symmetric and idempotent. Okay. So this is, you can say that M is symmetric and idempotent. Why it is required? Because whenever we are trying to find out the distribution of y dash my, so it is nothing but it is a distribution of e dash e. E dash e is nothing but the distribution of the sum of square due to errors. So we'll show that it has the chi-square with a certain degree of freedom. So at that time we use we write in the form of a quadratic form. So this is said to be a quadratic form of y. So I can ask you that show in usual notation, show that sum of square due to errors can be written as a quadratic form of a y. So you can also write this. Any questions up to this? Anyone?
No, sir.
So now we talk about the some results of matrix algebra. We will not prove, but we will just give you the statement because we are going to use it. So any matrix of order m cross n satisfying any matrix A लिखो ना, order m cross n satisfying the relation यहाँ पे any matrix A bar of order n cross m को n cross m satisfying the relation A bar A is equal to A, then A bar is said to be generalized inverse. We call them as a G inverse of matrix A of order m cross n. So A bar is said to be G inverse of A. Why G inverse is required? Because suppose the rank of matrix is not full. So of course you cannot obtain the unique estimate of beta. So what happens? you are trying to find out the G inverse of a matrix A. Okay, so that is how we will define the relation. What do you mean by the G inverse? So let us say A bar is said to be G inverse of A if it you can, or A bar is satisfying this condition. So of course, if I am saying that H equal to A bar A, then AH equal to A, because H equal to A bar. So by using this condition, now what about H square? So H square is nothing but H into H. So H is A bar A, and again H is A bar A. So this is nothing but A. So you can say that H is idempotent matrix. Therefore, H is idempotent matrix. Okay. So of course, when H is idempotent matrix, we know the things. Rank of H is nothing but the trace of H, and that is nothing but the rank of A. तो जो क्योंकि हमने प्रूव किया था रैंक ऑफ एक्स डैश एक्स इक्वल टू रैंक ऑफ एक्स, तो यहाँ पे रैंक ऑफ ए बार इज ए इज नथिंग बट रैंक ऑफ ए, and rank of H is also known as the trace of H when H is an idempotent matrix. We further know that trace of, suppose P and Q2 are matrices, so trace of PQ can be written as trace of QP. Of course, the multiplication should be possible. Similarly, trace of PQR is nothing but trace of QRP is equal to trace of RPQ. So that is also possible. Okay. Now suppose a matrix P, let matrix P be an idempotent. So when you say idempotent, that is P square equal to P. There exists matrix L. L is nothing but some orthogonal matrix such that P can be written as L transpose lambda L. Okay. Sorry, it's not L transpose, it is L lambda L transpose, where lambda is nothing but diagonal matrix. Lambda कहेगा तो delta कह दो. Delta is a diagonal matrix, delta 1, delta 2, delta P, where delta i's are eigenvalue of matrix P. So P is an idempotent matrix. So what are the eigenvalues? The eigenvalues of eigenvalues of idempotent matrix are either 1 or 0. So delta i's take values either 1 or 0. So what I am saying that, suppose if you get the some idempotent matrix with you, so there exists a matrix L such that you can write P equal to L delta L transpose, where delta is eigenvalues of a idempotent matrix P, and they are nothing but the 1 and 0. And suppose L is a orthogonal matrix, then L transpose is nothing but L inverse you can write. The next, if H is idempotent, if H square equal to H, then I minus H square is equal to I minus H. It means that if H is idempotent, then I minus H is also idempotent. So you can prove it. I minus H square is equal to I minus H into I minus H. So that I multiply, that is giving the identity matrix. H multiply I multiply with H, so that is giving identity. H multiply I, that is giving also a H matrix, and H multiply with H, that is H square, but this is sign is plus, but we know that H is idempotent matrix, so you can write H square is equal to H, so this H will be cancelled out with this, so it is a I minus H, and therefore I minus H is also an idempotent matrix. Okay, तो idempotent matrix है तो उसका rank क्या होगा? Trace. So rank of I minus H is equal to trace of I minus H, and trace of I minus H है, इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? It is a trace of I minus trace of H. Suppose the trace of I identity matrix of order n है, तो trace क्या होगा? Sum of diagonal value. तो diagonal क्या है? 1 1 1. How many times? N times. And suppose the trace of H is a m, then the rank of I minus H is n minus m. The general solution of non-homogeneous equation ओके नॉन होमोजीनियस इक्वेशन सपोज आपने कहा ax इक्वल टू u, अगर u की जगह पे 0 लिखा तो दैट इज द सिस्टम ऑफ होमोजीनियस इक्वेशन. तो इज गिवन बाय x curl, of course it is a vector. The particular solution is a bar u, because we know that a is not invertible, so it is a g inverse, so x equal to a bar u, but that is a particular solution. But when you say about the general solution, it is I minus h z, where z is any arbitrary vector. So when your particular solution becomes the general solution, or general solution becomes the particular solution, so there is some condition, so that we will derive later on. Okay, so these are the few results you have to remember. Now we'll see the one theorem. A necessary and sufficient condition for the expression lambda dash beta cap, where beta cap b any solution to normal equation x dash y is equal to x dash x beta cap to have unique value. Which expression? Expression lambda dash beta cap to have unique value if lambda dash equal to lambda dash h, where h is equal to s bar s and s is equal to s transpose s. Sorry, s is equal to x transpose x and s bar be a G inverse of s. So what I am trying to prove is because the problem is that here we do not have a suppose the regular inverse exists. If regular inverse does not exist, we cannot have a unique solution. Okay, and therefore you have to go for the finding the general solution. So when this general solution becomes the unique, if the condition is lambda dash equal to lambda dash h. So we give the proof. So when you say that the G inverse exists, it means this is the S bar S. G inverse exists means that the regular inverse does not exist. That means the model is a non-full rank model. So for a non-full rank model, there will be infinite number of solutions to normal equations x dash y is equal to x dash x beta cap, or you can also write it as a q is equal to s beta cap, where s equal to x dash x. Normal equations, infinite solutions to the normal equations for beta. किसके सॉल्यूशन की बात कर रहे हैं तो बीटा का जो एस्टिमेट आप ढूंढ रहे हैं वो, that is the infinite solutions are there. However, if we do not focus on if we do not focus on all the elements of beta, all the elements of beta but only a linear function of them because beta cap is not a unique. Why? Because x dash x is not a full rank, and therefore you cannot get the unique estimate beta cap, and therefore we are not interested in the all the elements of beta but only a linear function of them. Say lambda dash beta, such as however we do not focus on all the elements of beta but only linear function of lambda dash beta, such as lambda dash beta is equal to lambda 1 beta 1 lambda 2 beta 2 up to how many parameters? P parameters. So lambda p beta p, where lambda is equal to lambda 1 lambda 2 lambda p transpose. Then for the different values of beta cap, then for the different values of why there is a different values of beta cap? Because beta cap is not unique. Say beta 1 cap, beta 2 cap. Likewise, there is infinite value. Okay. For the different values of beta cap, say beta 1 cap of किसके of equation Q is equal to S beta cap the expression कौन सा expression? तो lambda dash beta 1 cap lambda dash beta 2 cap. तो जितने भी सॉल्यूशंस है उतने आपको ये एक्सप्रेशन मिलेंगे will be different. As we know that the general solution the general solution of Q is equal to S beta cap is आगे हमने लिखा it is a beta curl plus I minus H Z, and because there is a different values of Z, so I takes value 1 to infinity. Therefore lambda अगर आप प्री मल्टीप्लाई करो दोनों साइड तो क्या मिलेगा? Sorry, this is the beta cap plus beta curl is equal to lambda dash beta cap plus यहाँ पे आपका क्या आएगा? क्योंकि आपके पास अलग अलग सॉल्यूशंस है तो यहाँ पे हम इसको बीटा आई कैप की जगह बीटा आई lambda dash I minus h zi। तो यहाँ पे ये इसको बीटा कैप पे रखो, क्योंकि आई बदलेगा तो सॉल्यूशन अपने आप बदलेगा। ओके, so when this general solution lambda dash beta curl become the lambda dash beta cap, provided this quantity should be 0. Okay, lambda dash beta curl becomes unique if and only if lambda dash, because z is arbitrary vector which cannot be 0, तो क्या होगा, this quantity should be 0, therefore lambda dash minus lambda dash h is equal to 0, which implies lambda dash equal to lambda dash h. So you will get the particular solution if and only if lambda dash is equal to lambda dash h, irrespective of value of zi। zi चाहे आपका कुछ भी क्यों ना हो। Okay? So what we like to prove, we wish to prove here that a necessary and sufficient condition. So when I am saying necessary and sufficient condition, it means that if and only if that expression lambda dash beta cap, where beta cap be any solution to the normal equation, have a unique value if lambda dash equal to lambda dash h. So what we do, we started with a non-full rank model. There will be an infinite number of solutions of a normal equation x plus y is equal to x plus x beta cap for a beta. Or if we do not focus on all the elements of beta, but only some linear function of them, say lambda dash beta, which is defined as lambda dash beta equal to lambda 1 beta 1 plus up to lambda p beta p, where lambda is some vector of a known constant lambda 1 lambda 2 lambda p. Then for a difference value of beta cap, say beta 1 cap beta 2 cap of a q beta cap, the expression lambda dash beta 1 cap lambda dash beta cap will be also different. And when we have the q equal to f beta cap is a normal equation, so we know that general solution is given by beta curl equal to beta cap plus I minus s zi. If we multiply equation both the side by lambda dash, we can have this, but lambda dash beta curl, that is general solution, becomes the particular solution, that is lambda dash beta cap if and only if lambda dash I minus h equal to 0, because this cannot be 0, तो क्या हो सकता है, this can be 0 and this can be 0, that means lambda dash minus lambda dash equal to 0, that means lambda dash equal to lambda dash h. Okay, any questions up to this? So now we talk about the estimability of the parametric function. Why estimability? Because as we say that unique estimate of beta is not exist, and therefore we try to go for the some linear function of parameters which are uniquely estimable. If beta cap is solution of normal equation, when I am saying that solution of normal equation, that means it is a solution of this equation x dash y is equal to x dash x beta cap, and we call them as a normal equation. There are two difficulties arises. That arise using beta cap for estimating beta. Using beta cap for estimating beta. So what are the difficulties? So finally, if you obtain the either least square estimate or ML estimate of the normal equation x dash y is equal to x dash x beta cap, there are two difficulties arising. First, कब जब आपका नॉन फुल रैंक इक्वेशन है तब की बात है, नॉन फुल रैंक मॉडल है तब बीटा कैप इज नॉट यूनिक. Why you say that beta cap is not unique? Because what is your beta cap? Beta cap is become the x dash x. इनवर्स की जगह पे क्या आएगा? G inverse x dash y, or you can write it as a s bar q. So because G inverse is not unique, so beta cap is not unique. And there could be unique नहीं है तो क्या होगा? There could be general solution to x dash y is equal to x dash x beta cap. नॉर्मल इक्वेशन को जनरल सॉल्यूशन है. ठीक है. एंड सेकंड क्या है? बीटा कैप इज नॉट अनबायस्ड. Estimator of beta. So there are two difficulties that one is beta cap is not unique. Why? Because this x dash x is not a regular inverse. It is a G inverse, and G inverse is not unique. So therefore the beta cap is also not a unique. So we can have the general solution rather than the particular solution. And second one is beta cap is not unbiased estimate of beta cap. So how will you prove it? To find out, see, when we take the full rank, we have already proved that beta cap is a unbiased for beta. But when it is a non-full rank, beta cap is not a unbiased. So we will prove it. What is the estimate beta cap? It is s bar x dash y. S bar is a constant, x dash is also outside, and expectation of y. But expectation of y is nothing but it is a x beta. So here you can say that beta cap equal to s bar q is equal to s bar x dash y. Here we know that expected value of y is equal to x beta. So this is a s bar s beta, and that is called h beta. Why? Because s equal to x dash x and h equal to s bar s. But s bar s is not identity, so it doesn't equal to beta. So therefore beta cap thus beta cap is not unbiased estimator for beta. We therefore abandon the idea of estimating all elements of beta. Estimating all elements of beta. So we will drop the idea of estimating all elements of the beta and try to see whether we can estimate at least some linear function of linear function of them. At least we can estimate some linear function of them. Okay, and that is how. So these are the two demerits we have observed. One of the problem arises that if your model is a non-full rank model, so non-full rank model, that means the rank of X is not full. That means X dash X is not full rank matrix. So we do not get the regular inverse of X dash X, and therefore we do not have a unique solution beta cap equal to X dash X inverse X dash Y. So we will not get the unique estimate of a beta by beta cap. So we have some general solution of a beta. And second one is that if betas are not unique, so whenever you find out their unbiased estimate of beta cap, what happens? Expected value of beta cap become the H beta, and H beta is not beta. So we say that the beta cap is a bias estimator of a beta. And therefore, what we do, we drop our idea to estimate all the parameters uniquely. We try to see that are we in that position to obtain some function of a parameters which are estimable uniquely. So that is how the concept of a estimability of linear parametric function is there. So now we will see about the estimability of linear parametric function. And therefore we have to derive the certain condition of estimability. And once we show that the linear parametric function is estimable, then of course we can find the best linear unbiased estimator for that. A linear parametric function lambda dash beta, where lambda is lambda 1, lambda 2 up to lambda t transpose, or you can say that lambda dash equal to lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda p. यहाँ transpose नहीं लिखना है, both are the same, is said to be estimable at least one linear function of observation u dash y, where u dash equal to u1, u2, un, such that expected value of u dash y is identically equal to, when I am saying that triple equal to के ऊपर एक और बार लगा रहा है, इसका मतलब it is identically equal to lambda dash beta, that is whatever value of beta we have, expected value of u dash y is equal to lambda dash beta. Okay, so this is the definition. What is the definition? It's very simple. We are talking about the estimability of a linear parametric function. So we say that a linear parametric function lambda dash beta, where lambda dash is nothing but lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda p, which is a non-constant vector of row vector of a non-constant, is said to be estimable. So which estimable? Lambda dash beta is said to be estimable if there exists at least one linear function of observation. So what is y? Y is the observation, vector of observation, and u dash y is a linear function of observation, where u dash is nothing but u1, u2, un. It is again non, such that the expected value of u dash y is identically equal to lambda dash beta. That means whatever value of beta we have, we can say that expected value of u dash y is lambda dash beta. Then lambda dash beta is estimable. So to prove that lambda dash beta is estimable, what we have to take? We have to take any linear function of observation whose expected value, say u dash y, whose expected value is lambda dash beta. Then we say that lambda dash beta is a estimable function. So there are, when we talk about the estimation space and the error space, so again in estimation space we try to find out a linear function of observation which is whose expected value is lambda dash beta, then we say that it is a estimable. Now we have to try to prove one theorem. It's very small theorem. Necessary and sufficient condition necessary and sufficient condition for a linear parametric function for linear parametric function lambda dash beta for the model 2.1. What is 2.1? That is y is equal to x beta plus epsilon, where y is observed, x is of order n cross p, beta is a vector of unknown parameters, epsilon is a vector of random errors, and whose mean is 0 and variance sigma square in. तो वो आपको पूरा लिखना है यहाँ पे. Lambda dash for the model 2.1 to be estimable is that lambda dash is a linear combination of rows vector of matrix X So what I have to prove? I have to prove the necessary and sufficient condition that lambda dash beta is estimable. It means that lambda dash is a linear combination of row vector of x. Then we say that lambda dash beta is estimable. So this will prove in a two-part, necessary and sufficient. That means if and only if. We start with the if. That means okay, lambda dash beta is a estimable. So by using the definition of estimability, we will show that lambda dash is a linear combination of rows of x. Then we start with the, let us say lambda dash is a linear combination of rows of x, and we will prove that there exists a linear function of observation whose expected value is lambda dash beta. So that is where we will prove. It is given that what it is given, lambda dash beta is estimable, is given, and now you have to prove that it is a linear function of a lambda dash is a linear function of a rows of x. It is given that lambda dash beta is an estimable parametric function. Estimable parametric function of beta. So we know that definition of estimability parametric function, there exists, therefore there exists at least one linear function of observation at least one linear function of observation u dash y, where u dash is equal to u1, u2, un, such that expected value of u dash y is identical equal to lambda dash beta. तो ये हम जानते हैं, why? Because lambda dash beta is estimability. Lambda dash beta is a estimable function, parametric function. So of course, by definition of estimability, there exists a linear function of observation y. Let us say it is a u dash y, whose expected value is identical equal to lambda dash beta. So which implies u dash is a constant, expected value of y is identically equal to lambda dash beta. So what is that? U dash expected value of y is x beta is identical equal to lambda dash beta. Why? Because expected value of y equal to x beta, and because they are identically equal, so what is the coefficient of beta in both the sides? They are equal, so we can say that u dash x equal to lambda dash. तो याद करो, मैंने आपको एक थ्योरम बताया था कि when you take the linear combination of a rows of x, it is giving a row vector. So you can see that lambda dash is a row vector, so which show that lambda dash is a linear combination of rows of x. So now we wish to prove the inverse part. Conversely, what is given? Conversely, it is given that lambda dash is a linear combination of rows of x, that is lambda dash equal to u dash x. Okay, so let us start with the expected value of u dash x. So u dash y. So u dash y is some linear function of observation. U dash is outside expected value of y. So that is a u dash x beta. Why? Because expected value of y is equal to x beta. But we know that what is u dash x? U dash x is given to us, and that is nothing but lambda dash. So it is equal to lambda dash beta. So we have proved that u dash y is a some linear function of observation whose expected value is lambda dash beta. Therefore, by definition of estimability, lambda dash beta is an estimable parametric function. Okay. So how we prove this theorem? It is very simple. What is given? Lambda dash beta is parametric function which is estimable given. So we have used the definition. Definition is saying that there exists a one linear function of observation whose expected value is identically to lambda dash beta. So we said okay, and then we find out the u dash expected value of y. It is u dash x beta because they are identical. So we say that lambda dash equal to u dash x, and lambda dash is nothing but it is a linear combination of rows of x. So that is what we have proved. Now conversely, we have given lambda dash is a linear combination of rows of x, that is u dash lambda dash equal to u dash x. So now let us start with the some linear parametric linear function of observation and find out its expected value. So let us say u dash y is some linear function of observation whose expected value we obtain, it is a u dash x beta, but we know that u dash x is given lambda dash, so we have just substitute, and it is the definition of estimability of parametric function is saying that you can get at least one linear function of observation which is unbiased to the lambda dash beta. So by definition, lambda dash beta is estimable parametric function, and hence the proof. Any questions up to anyone? Anyone?
No, sir.